Hello, fellow Smash fans. Lukash here with yet another YouTube video. Today I'm going to go over part 3 of my Lucas matchup chart. So, without further ado, I'm going to try to go um, from Isabelle all the way to through Wolf. So, I'm going to try to finish up the rest of the even matchups and go through the +1 matchups. So this video will be a little bit long, but it'll be well worth it. So for even matchups, we have Isabelle. So the reason why I consider Isabelle to be an even matchup is because Isabelle, along with Villager, has the pocket. So a good Isabelle or Villager main makes PK Fire not really like a thing for you. So you're pretty much just gonna have to rely solely on PK Fire mix-ups in order to actually like land a PK Fire. They can also pocket your PK Freeze and PK Thunder, which is a huge issue. They can follow you all the way off stage, and then when you try recovering, they can just pocket your PK Thunder. It's a cheap gimmick, but it works. And then also their neutral game is really solid. They can pretty much just like use a bunch of forward air and back air, which can keep you away. But this seems like it's a -1 matchup, but it's still even because Isabelle and Villager just don't do enough damage. I'm probably gonna count Isabelle and Villager as the same character right now. I know they're not, but they're pretty much just like they don't do enough damage in neutral. So yes, they'll be winning neutral a lot, but pretty much all you have to do is win neutral once or twice. Wait till they pull out their up B, and then you can usually get a PK freeze. If that doesn't work, you can try to get a back air spike. So one thing that they do have one though is the traps. For instance, Isabelle can lay down her mine, and then she can trap you into either jumping or rolling from ledge, both of which are not great options. And then she can fishing rod you. That is a little bit frustrating to deal with. But pretty much you just kind of got to weather the storm with Isabelle and Villager. Find a couple of openings, and you have it won. Next on even, we have Jigglypuff. Now, whenever I face Jigglypuffs, it's always a very, 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 very contested match. But one thing I have found, and it's pretty miserable to say the least, that you have to resort to doing this. But if you face a Jigglypuff, pretty much all you do is you're just sitting there spamming PK Freeze and PK Fire the whole match. But it works for the most part. The only problem is if they get an opening and they're good enough, they can push you really far off stage. But sometimes that isn't an issue because if you can get out your PK Thunder and use it as fast as possible to recover high, it will hit the Jigglypuff and it'll do like 40% to Jigglypuff and you'll be back on stage. So that's a mix up I found. But otherwise, yeah, when you're on stage, you're just kind of spamming PK Freeze, PK Fire. If they get too close, or you know what angle they're gonna approach you by, you can get a forward air or a Zair. So yeah, it's kind of depressing. You have to resort to doing that. But yeah, if you have to do that though, because if Jigglypuff gets a pound, you're taking at least 60%. Sometimes you'll just die off of it. Sometimes they can get like if they just get a random down air, they can rest you off of that. So next up we have Link. Link I consider even, but he's very borderline a +1 for Lucas. But if the Link is just like throwing out specials the whole match, just like he can do things with his bomb. For instance, if you're a Lucas player and you like for some reason really want to absorb his bomb, um sometimes that will like really mess you up because his bomb obviously when he throws it at you before it detonates it has a physical hitbox, and if they can react to it, the physical hitbox combos into the actual energy hitbox. I have gotten edge guarded very well by links that did that. But otherwise, neutral game in general can be a little bit hard for Lucas. except if you just spam forward smash and just reflect everything back at him. Because really, all you need, just like with Isabelle and Villager, you find one opening, you can just gimp the heck out of his recovery with a PK freeze. If they're trying to recover at a wrong angle, PK fire if you knock them back like really deep and they can't really do anything about it, or PK thunder if they're recovering right alongside with the stage. Next up, we have Lucario as an even matchup. This matchup is actually it's a pretty tight matchup in general, but it all comes down to range. And I wish I could say Lucario has more range, but Lucario doesn't. The only really thing Lucario has going is the plasma ball, the aura sphere. But when the thing's like half charged all the way up to like 3/4 charged, and Lucario isn't at like that high of a percent, like if Lucario's at like sub 60%, Lucas's PK Fire actually gets rid of an Aura Sphere, which is pretty good. On top of that, Lucas can obviously absorb Aura Sphere. I have absorbed an Aura Sphere and it's recovered me like 40%. So, but it's still pretty challenging though. A good Lucario main is not just gonna throw. They're not just gonna throw out an Aura Sphere randomly. You can also reflect their Aura Sphere. Also, Lucas just has more range in the neutral game. Like he can just keep you walled out with double jump cancels airs and just snakes and all of that, and forward airs. Uh, so yeah, it all depends with if you can get the down smash 2 frame, and if you get the right gimp when you need it. Because if you don't, Lucario's just gonna hold on to those stocks to like 120, and when that happens, that's never a good thing to happen. So overall, neutral game, Lucas has Lucario 1. Uh, Advantage game, Lucas definitely has Lucario 1 over. Um, but yeah, if Lucario does get you in disadvantage, it can be a little bit of an issue, but it's still decently easy. Next up, we have Lucas. Obviously, this is a very tightly contested matchup. Usually, it comes down to who styles on the other Lucas the most. That's usually what I try doing against fellow Lucas mains. Um, they try going for like the down air forward smash combos, and they like pretty much a Lucas versus Lucas matchup is a showcase video. That's that. Like for instance, I played against the best Lucas player in the world a few days ago, Lucas. He's also the most technical Lucas player in the world. Pretty much the most technical Smash Ultimate player in the world. So I'm going to be making a video off of that in a few days. But yeah, it's pretty much if you get Lucas off stage, sometimes you can gimp him good enough with your PK Thunder to force him to recover at an angle in which you can just down air spike him. So yeah, it's just whoever's better. Next up, we have, I believe that is that Marth? Yeah, okay, sorry. Next up on even, we have Marth. Oh boy, it is a very tight matchup for Marth. My gosh. Pretty much it all comes down to if you can weave in and out of his attacks and try not to get sweet spotted, you know? Um but it is decently still an okay matchup for Lucas. Um the only problem is if you're at ledge, you pretty much have to get lucky with the double jump cancel in order to keep out Marth's edge trapping skills. For instance, he can like down tilt neutral air, and that covers like pretty much every option. But I have found ways to get around that, just like rolling or timing my double jump cancel right. Uh, it comes down to who can hold their advantage state for the longest. Either that or who gets the most out of their advantage state. So that's pretty much that. Like with pretty much every character I've been talking about in this tier list series, you can still gimp Marth with PK Thunder, which any character you can gimp with PK Thunder is immediately decent. Like it's immediate decent matchup for Lucas. Next up, we have Meta Knight. So, just like what I said before in my previous videos with like Ice Climbers and like Mega Man and like Duck Hunt and characters like that, I don't really see a lot of Meta Knight players around out there. But I used to secondary Meta Knight, and I'm actually looking into keeping or maybe making Meta Knight my secondary again. Because currently, right now, I'm just a solo Lucas main, which is okay. But as you can see from this chart, there are still a few iffy matchups. So the thing with Meta Knight you really have to worry about, you really just got to go in with grabs, because all the Meta Knight mains I've seen, they always take a very cautious approach to my PK fires to try to find their openings. But that usually doesn't work out with them. If I like dash dance every once in a while when they're in shield, um usually I can bait something, or if that doesn't work, I'll just flat out go for a grab, get them off stage. Once they're off stage, you have to go really deep in order to get Meta Knight. Like you have to jump off stage and do things. If you get lucky though, you can still get Meta Knight with a PK freeze if he tries recovering high, which Meta Knight actually can recover high very well. Or if he tries recovering with the neutral B, you can also PK freeze and all of that stuff. Really, the only thing you got to watch out for is Meta Knight's grab when you're at around 30, or no, when you're at around like 28%, because that's when he can get those 28 to death up air ladder combos into up B. So, yeah. Also, one thing you have to realize, you can't just always short hop PK Fire against Meta Knight, because he has that interdimensional cape. If he knows you're just gonna short hop PK Fire, he can just interdimensional cape for you from behind, and he'll get like a free like 20 something percent, and it'll kill you sometimes. Depending on how much percent you have. So that can be a little bit of an issue. But otherwise, Lucas just has more range than Meta Knight. Next up we have Ness. Oh boy. Ness is actually a decently hard matchup for Lucas. I'm surprised. I went against Spencer, who is one of the best players in Wisconsin, just like in general. He's like in the top 15 players. I think he's like number 10 in the state or something like that. Um, Ness is really good because if he can find one opening on your Lucas, he can just like steal like 40% just like off of a simple down tilt combo, or just like a PK fire, which I I don't like. But yeah, he can do all sorts of things. But the thing with the Ness though, on paper, Lucas should definitely win the Ness matchup. Like on paper, it's definitely like a 55-45 in favor of Lucas. But in game, it's a lot harder for that to actually translate, because Ness has different angles at which he can throw his PK fire. He can approach you from the air. If you think he's gonna like drop with like a neutral air, which is pretty broken by the way, he can just use PK fire. If it hits your shield's gonna take a lot of damage. Just like all sorts of stuff like that. It's really a hassle. Um, One thing that really annoys me about Ness is, yes, you can obviously gimp him. He's Ness, for crying out loud. But it's, for some reason, it's a lot harder than usual, because if he has his double jump and an air dodge, usually he doesn't even have to use his up B. But if he uses his up B, you absolutely have to try to absorb that up B. It'll get you some good damage recovery, and that's good, and it'll obviously just kill him. So that's him. Um, Also, it's pretty hard dealing with his yo-yo sometimes. Like sometimes that'll just like force you. Sometimes it'll force you to recover high, or at an angle where you'll have ledge invincibility before the yo-yo comes out or something. So that's excuse me, that's pretty hard. Next up on even, we have Pichu. So the reason why I said Pichu is because in general, Pichu wins neutral, like, for days. Because Pichu is literally the definition of a character that's hard to hit with PK Fire. So that it's a bit of a struggle. But you only need to be winning neutral 30% of the time to kill Pichu. Lucas has 3 kill combos, and this is the lightest character in the game, for crying out loud. Enough said. But no, in general, I have killed Pichu before at like 20% with a down smash. I've killed Pichu at like 40% with like an unstale, uncharged up smash. I did that before. So it all comes down to making the most out of the few openings that you will have. Um, and just predicting what angle the Pichu will take and trying to two-frame it, or trying to find a way to gimp it. So usually it's like a close matchup, but it's definitely doable. Next on even, we have Piranha Plant. So the reason why I say even for Piranha Plant is, well, Piranha Plant, you can easily camp with PK Fire and everything, but once you're in disadvantage, it is so hard to get out. I have been kept in disadvantage state by good Piranha Plant players for like years. It's really annoying. They can just like do simple ledge traps with their Patui, their neutral B. So the spiky ball is very hard to get around. Also, if you recover with PK Thunder at a bad angle, or an angle at which you're exposed, their Patui can just completely destroy you. But once you're in advantage state, their recovery is decently slow. So if they don't mix up what angle they recover at with those with the helicopter leaf, you can definitely still gimp it with PK Thunder. Or what you can do, something I have done a couple of times, you can use PK Thunder, bring it back so that it hits the stage, and then what that'll do is that will make the plant think you're trying to gimp them. So then they'll recover high, and then when they recover high, you can get a PK freeze, which will just flat out kill them. So yeah, that's that. Next up on even, we have Samus. Samus slash Dark Samus. I think I already talked about Samus slash Dark Samus in my other video, in part 2 of the video. So now we're going to talk about Shulk. Oh, Shulk, Shulk, Shulk. Shulk, you can gimp. Okay, so pretty much the long and short of this matchup, Shulk can kill you. You can kill Shulk. They go tit for tat. Shulk has more range, but you have projectiles. Shulk can be really fast, but you can keep him out if you're good enough. It just comes down to how well you can keep your advantage state. Neutral is always going to be really hard, but if you mix in your PK, if you do PK Fire mix-ups, to improve the accuracy of the PK Fire, like actually landing on your opponent, it can be pretty hard for Shulk to get around. So that's why I kept him at even. Just like with the Ice Climbers, Shulk is a very uncommon character to see online, at least for me. Yeah, he is considered to be top tier by some players. I don't think he's top tier, but I think he can easily be like low high tier. Definitely not top tier. Okay, next we have Young Link. Oh, balls, Young Link. Yeah, why? Okay, Young Link spams the whole match. Young Link spam. No, and Toon Link. The whole match, they will spam the heck out of you. They will just use Young Link players just use fire arrows. They just use their boomerangs. And then the moment one of those things hits, they get like 40% because they'll combo that into like a forward air. All these things. It's really annoying. But if they do really annoying things to them, if they do really annoying things to you, you can do really annoying things to them. Reflect all those dang projectiles. Reflect the heck out of them. One thing I do, I actually absorbed like 60 or 70% over a match against a Young Link player in a Wi-Fi tournament. What I would do is sometimes he would throw a bomb, and then I would retreat, and then right when the bomb hits the ground, I would reverse my PSI magnet so that when the bomb exploded, I would absorb energy, absorb the damage. So it all depends on how well you can reflect your projectiles, his projectiles, and which angles you use your PK fire. Because if you do it right, a lot of younglings like to full hop and then do like a downwards angled boomerang. But if you full hop with them, you can you can call out their jump with the neutral air or with the PK fire. So that's that. Also, if you get them off stage, they should be dead. You can easily just hover a PK freeze around a general area, which you know they're gonna have to recover and they're dead. It's pretty much the same thing with Toon Link, but it's much, much easier for Toon Link. Keep in mind, in the tiers here, they're not in order, but if they were in order, Toon Link would probably be over here, you know, on like a slightly positive matchup, but he's still pretty even. It all comes down to if you can reflect his boomerangs, keep yourself in advantage state. You really don't want to be playing neutral with either one of Toon Link or Young Link. You just gotta, you have to win as soon as possible. Um, Otherwise, yeah, they'll just rack up the damage. Uh, that's pretty much that. Um, Next we have Banjo and Kazooie. I'm glinting over Villager because I went over him with the Isabelle matchup. Banjo and Kazooie. Oh my gosh, they're so hard. They're pretty much a negative matchup, but I believe they can still be considered even. Now by even, I say like a 55-45 in Banjo and Kazooie's favor. It's a really hard matchup, especially if the Banjo and Kazooie really just wants to like camp you out. They can do that. Really annoying. Um if they want to, they can just kind of like camp you out with eggs. Um, they can camp you out with eggs. They can camp you out with grenades. And then even worse, when you try to use PK Fire in neutral, if they just flat out know you're going to do PK Fire, they can Wonder Wing, and the Wonder Wing will hit you, and you're just dead. So there's not a lot of things you can do in this matchup, but as soon as you find an opening, you have to take that opening and you have to ride it until they're off stage. And then once they're off stage, you have to react to whatever recovery option they do. If they recover high, you have to PK freeze the heck out of it. If they recover low, you have to PK thunder the heck out of it. If they recover like an angle with the stage with like Wonder Wing or something, you wait to see if their Wonder Wing bounces off the stage. If it bounces off the stage, you can get a down smash and they're dead. And then if it doesn't bounce off the stage, you can just, I don't know, do a ledge trap. So very hard, but the best Lucas player can still get that into an even kind of style. Okay, now for the +1 matchups, we have Corrin. Poor Corrin mains. So pretty much Corrin in general does win neutral a decent amount of the time because the forward air and the up air just have a lot of range. They can keep you juggled for a while. Your down smash won't really your down air won't really bail you out of any juggle situations at all. But when you win neutral, the Corrin's dead. You can two-frame the recovery pretty easily. If you two-frame it with the first hit of down smash, they'll just die. Even with the buff to the recovery that Corrin saw in, I think it was like patch 5.0 or something like that, Corrin's recovery is still iffy to say the least. You can also PK Thunder Gimp it. do all sorts of shenanigans. You can back air, spike it if you really want to be stylish. You can also double jump cancel Zair and PK Fire. So PK Fire just wins you neutral sometimes. Mind you, I said that Corrin should be winning neutral most of the time, but that's on paper. But most Corrin players just can't find a way to get around the PK Fire. So, all in all, there's just not much Corrin can do. If they do neutral B, you absorb like a free 20%. Um, so yeah, you pretty much just have to keep yourself in the neutral / advantage position. Once you get in disadvantage, it's just really difficult. Next for +1, we have Peach and Daisy. Now, this character would be +2 if they didn't have enough recovery mix-ups. Like they have a decent amount of recovery mix-ups with float, up B, and side B, so that you can so that it's slightly harder to gimp them off stage. But in general, you're gonna be winning this. PK Fire is just flat out better than Turnips in most situations. Yeah, Turnips can keep you off stage and just they do a monstrosity amount of damage. A monstrosis, or I don't know how you say that, but it's pretty annoying to deal with a good Peach and Daisy player. Um, but if you can keep them out with PK Fire, Zair, and Fair, you know the three really good disjoints that Lucas has, you'll have the matchup won. If you get them off stage, do a PK freeze and don't angle it or anything. Just wait for it to hover, and then it will force them to do something. And if they mess up, they're just dead. Or if you time it right, they're just dead. Even if they don't mess up, they can just die sometimes. Also, if they're trying to recover like parallel to the stage, you know, like where they're both on even levels, you can just jump off and quickly PK Fire the heck out of that. So that's that. You just gotta sometimes beware of coming in close. Like you can definitely come in close with Peach and Daisy, and I would suggest that sometimes. But other times, you just gotta know when to not go in. Like when you're at 0%, you don't want to go in. You don't want a Samsora combo to get you to 80 or maybe even death. So yeah, that's that. You can also Reflector Turnips, which is decent, but it's not nearly as big as you would think because turnips have such little lag where they can shield the turnip. Next on +1, we have Pit and Dark Pit. I feel really sorry for Pit and Dark Pit. If they were buffed, I would be playing this character. I love the way Pit and Dark Pit play in like other Smash games. For instance, like not like actual Smash Bros Ultimate or like not the main series. I mean like in Super Smash Flash, I love the way Pit plays. In Project Plus, I love the way Pit plays. But in general, he's just a bad character in Ultimate, and I don't know why they did this to him. He has too little aerial mobility. He can challenge Lucas's recovery, which is like the only thing he has off stage. But in neutral, you've pretty much won. His forward air on paper should get the job done, but its hitbox doesn't do him much credit. You can pretty much keep him out with PK Fire and Zair. Forward air is a lot bigger than PK Fire or Zair though, because it'll do just more damage than Zair will ever do, unless you like get crazy good with double jump cancel Zairs. But and it also has slightly more range than Pit's neutral air, which is a huge thing in neutral for Pit. So yeah, just do that. Every once in a while, bait them to take out their down B shield, so you get a free grab. All sorts of like things you can do to just trick them. If you get them off stage, the recovery is just so slow. So yeah, that's how you deal with Pit and Dark Pit. Next up, we have Diddy Kong. I feel like Diddy Kong just doesn't get enough credit in this game. I feel like he can easily be a good character. but he's just being held back by his own kit. For instance, he has a nice kit and all of that, but his up B just sucks. If you get Diddy Kong off the stage where he has to up B, he's dead no matter what. You can even mess up and he's dead. It is literally so sad. If you get the tail end of your PK Thunder on him while he has his jetpack out, he loses his jetpack and he dies. Like, why would the game do that? I'm a Lucas player, and even I think that's a little bit broken. But okay, enough of complaining. If you get him off stage, he's dead, like I said. Other than that, keeping him at bay with PK Fire, Zair, and Fair is decently easy, but PK Fire is a little bit hard to hit because he can be small. He can have a small hurt box to hit with PK Fire sometimes. Neutral game, Lucas definitely wins. You just can't like throw out unsafe moves on shield against him, which shouldn't really be an issue because not very much of Lucas's kit is unsafe on shield. So yeah, you just watch for his banana. You can play with it if you want. Just win neutral. Do yourself a favor and win neutral. But also when you're in disadvantaged state, it's not really that bad. Because sometimes if he tries doing like a soft combo, if you retaliate with a forward air and it hits him, sometimes it'll do more damage than his entire combo did, which is pretty sad. So that's why it's just overall definitely a positive matchup for Lucas. Next up, we have Mii Gunner. Okay, so Mii Gunner isn't like a horrid character, but pretty bad still. So Mii Gunner, forward air you can absorb. The down B bomb you can absorb. The plasma shot you can absorb. You know, the Samus neutrally. The Samus side B you can reflect. And also depending on their up B. Actually, no, it's not depending on their up B. No matter what up B they choose, it's always extremely easy to gimp a Mii Gunner. You just have to play around a lot with the projectiles, reflect them, do all sorts of shenanigans. Use PK Fire to clank with the Samus side B. Absorb that one Zelda side B that Mii Gunner has. So just do that right, and you'll win. You just have to play it right. So that's that. Next, that +1, we have Falco. A lot of people are probably thinking, why is Falco a +1? His reflector is so good. And while I will say Falco has debatably the best reflector in the game, because it comes out, it reaches so far in front of him, and it lasts for so long. But that's not really an issue. Not even kidding. In a tournament, I had an end screen with a back air spike at 0%, and the Falco died. So yeah. So pretty much it's always good for you. In neutral, you're always better than Falco. Falco doesn't have any disjoints of any kind. So you can just connive your way in there with your forward air and Zair. Sure, you kind of have to use PK Fire as like a mix-up. That doesn't really matter. If you get him off stage, if he tries recovering with side B, you get an easy down smash. So easy. It's like essentially free. You get pretty much a free down smash if he recovers parallel to the stage with side B. If he recovers under, you pretty much can also get a guaranteed back air spike. You just do the quick hop off stage, back air, whoosh, he's dead. So yeah, I think because of his weight, Lucas's back air kills always at like 20% and higher. Yeah. Just play it right. Don't get caught by his up tilt. When you're landing against the Falco, you gotta just land without anything. Just don't land with the PK Fire and stuff like that. Try absorbing his lasers every once in a while, because there are Falcos that just sometimes mindlessly do lasers, assuming that if the first laser hits, the next 15 of them are gonna hit. So you can just like absorb those if you see it coming. But yeah, the startup on his recovery does not do him favors. Next up, we have Ike. Ike is easily a +1. Excuse me. So Ike on paper has more range than Lucas, but he doesn't. Ike is too slow. He has range, but he's too slow. Lucas can just completely put up with everything Ike does. Most Ikes will full hop neutral air. You can full hop neutral air before they full hop neutral air, so it doesn't matter. You're just gonna win that. You just have to play it right. You'll always beat an Ike. You will always beat an Ike if you do that. If you do that right. If you don't know how to deal with it, though, Ike can be one of the more difficult matchups. But you can definitely still mess up his recovery. If he tries recovering with side B, you can literally just go off stage and go parallel with him, like at the same fall speed, so that whenever he releases his side B, it will hit you, and he'll die. Because if you didn't know, if Ike's side B hits someone in the air, he loses almost all forwards momentum and he gets put into free fall right away. And then if that is out of question, you can easily gimp his up B with a very well-timed back air spike, or if you can get out your up B, there are a couple of periods in Ike's up B where the super armor wears off, and if you use that to your advantage, you can still gimp it very well. Yeah, but the recovery and his speed just really does him in. Next, we have, is that Bayonetta? Yeah, it looks like Bayonetta. No, that's not Bayonetta. No, okay, no, that's Joker. Sorry. Okay. Next up, we have Joker. The best character in the game, considered by some. I don't think he's the best character in the game by any means, by the way. I personally think the best character in the game is Pokemon Trainer, but he's not a good matchup against Lucas. He doesn't have the range or the recovery. His recovery is one of the easiest recoveries to exploit in the game. With the PK Thunder. Because while he's getting pulled in while his up B, it says he has invincibility, but for some reason, while he's getting drawn in, or at the startup of when he's getting drawn in, I can always just like gimp him. It'll just like take priority over his up B, and he'll just die. So it's really sad. Obviously Arsene makes that a little bit more difficult, but you can still easily get the 2-frame against an Arsene, which is a little bit hard to time, but with experience, it's great. Also, Joker loves to counter a lot. You have one of the best grabs in the game. Use that to your advantage. It's a ranged grab. You will always be able to get the punish. Sometimes throw out PK freezes in neutral to bait his counter so that you can get free grabs every once in a while. And then, of course, don't autopilot with PK Fire. Otherwise, you can just keep on countering your PK Fire. So, yeah. When he has Arsene, it's actually okay to do short hop PK Fire, because in the landing animation after Lucas does short hop PK Fire, his head stoops so low where I have actually never gotten hit by the reflection of the PK Fire, just because he stoops so low when he lands with it. And just like play the game right. Don't make a mistake when he uses Arsene. Obviously, it sounds easy, but yeah, it's just a good matchup for Lucas. Next up, we have King Day, the king himself. So, the thing with King Dedede and other heavies in this game, I can get, if I can get in once, they're taking at the very least 60%. If I get a neutral air, I can combo that into like an up air or a forward air, or preferably up air, because I have up aired heavies to, I've gotten like 50 damage combos off just because of up air. Also, When King Dedede throws the Gordo, you can reflect it back with PK Fire, which is huge. Also, when King Dedede tries inhaling your PK Fire, you're going to purposely use PK Fire. If you see King Dedede inhaling, purposely use PK Fire. Just make sure it's grounded PK Fire. Because if it's grounded PK Fire and he inhales it, there's enough time for you to pull out your magnet. So you can like take back 9% damage just by absorbing your own PK Fire. But his disjoints are a little bit hard to deal with. Like, it's very hard to get in with Zair and forward air. It's literally all because of PK Fire that this is a good matchup. If you get King Dedede off stage, you have to time your PK freeze just right. That, or if you get really lucky, you can get a PK Thunder Gimp, but that rarely happens to me. And I've decided I'm just gonna like stop trying because his up B has really good super armor frames. Has super armor like the entire way. So I've just decided whenever I get King Dedede off stage, I'll either PK freeze his high recovery, or PK freeze his low recovery, or down smash his low recovery. With the 2-frame. Next we have King K. Rool. Literally the exact same thing I was saying about King Dedede. If he side Bs, you can reflect it. If he neutral Bs, you can reflect it, but that's pretty risky because he can reflect it back again. And then you're in the whole thing where you're reflecting the cannonball back and forth. At which point Lucas loses all the time because his forward smash is just a little bit too slow to keep up. Other than that, his recovery is easily exploitable. If you time it right, you can if you time it right, the very frame that your backer spike hitbox hits King Dedede, his helicopter hit will also hit you. So you can get some really nice trade-off backer spikes against this up B. You can also down smash his up B. If you're at the perfect spot in the stage, I really wish I could show you where that angle was. Unfortunately, I don't really have any gameplay of it, but it's doable. You can also PK Thunder it. If he's in the corner of the stage, like or lower in like off stage and in the corner, you can follow him off stage with PK Fire and he'll die. But other than that, yeah, you just gotta know what he's gonna do before he does it. Then we have Luigi. Luigi's obviously a +1. Most Luigi players aren't. No, I'm not going to say they're not good. I'm going to say that I know they can get 0 to deaths off of a grab, but why in a competitive setting do Luigi players literally camp the whole match, I mean, looking for a grab? I feel like Luigi has a lot more combos, or a lot more mix-ups to do than just a grab. So obviously, since most competitors just camp the whole match with fireballs, you can just absorb the fireballs, just don't get grabbed, spot dodge a lot whenever you're up close, and then like just get him off stage. It's kind of just like Diddy Kong. If he's off stage, he's dead. He trash recovery. You can back air spike it with ease. You can up B metal it with ease. You can also PK freeze it with ease because his side B has so much lag. So yeah, that's that. Honestly, he's almost a +2. It's just that honestly he should be a +2. If I could change it right now, yeah, he's definitely a +2. So that's that. And then we have Mario. Mario is only a +1 because he has a cape. He has the reflector cape, which actually does hit you if you short hop PK Fire. Other than Joker's reflector for some reason. So that's that. You gotta space effectively. Right spacing, he'll die. If you get him off stage, you can either go for the 2-frame with down smash, which is a little bit more difficult, or you can just, PK Thunder Gimp. If he's recovering at the right angle, you can PK freeze him. You can also go for back air spike if you time it right, or down air spike. He has a very linear recovery to say the least. Uh, but yeah, it all depends on with the Mario matchup if you can win neutral. If you can win neutral, which shouldn't be that hard. If you can win neutral, most of the time you'll win. But if Mario always keeps you in disadvantage, it's a little bit hard to deal with because his up air juggles and all of that um stuff. Excuse me, sorry, I'm tired. Next up we have Simon and Richter. Simon and Richter. Why? I hate these characters. Um, I actually played friendlies against a pretty decent Simon and Richter player at a tournament. It was a local tournament. I was not playing very well that day for some reason, but it really made me reconsider where Simon and Richter were in the matchups. But in general, I still think they're a +1. The really, really hard part about facing Simon and Richter is winning neutral. It's so hard to win neutral, but once you do win neutral, you essentially get a free stock if you get them off stage. You can PK freeze, which I wouldn't suggest because they can just still tether through that, or you can up B, which your PK Thunder will do the trick. Also, if they're knocked at the right angle, you pretty much get a guaranteed PK fire kill. So yeah, that's that. And just the fact that you can reflect their projectiles can be a little bit of a hassle sometimes. Just please avoid the ledge traps. That is literally the only thing that makes them good in this game, the ledge traps, because they can just down B and do messed up things with angling their forward smash. But other than that, just it's always really, really close, but it's not even quite. It's barely a +1. Next up, we have Robin. Robin is like Ice Climbers, in which no one plays him for some reason. Robin is easily an upper mid tier, in my opinion. Just his side B is so broken. It can combo into his up air, and for some reason that's like a kill confirm at 80%. Because his strong up air with the electric sword, I forgot what it was called. It can kill you at like 80%. But like kind of like with King Dedede, he's too slow. He/she is too slow. So you can PK fire the heck out of him, reflect his projectiles back at him. Get him off stage. You can get most of the time you can get a PK freeze. The other half of the time you can get the PK Thunder. Just win neutral. And try to mix up how you play neutral every once in a while. Because if once you're in disadvantage state, it can be very difficult. Next up, we have Rob. Oh balls, Rob! What a gifted character in this game. Side B's broken, by the way. They need to nerf that. So for Rob, I say it's a +1 because he has two of his specials you can reflect. You know, his down B and his neutral B. Although his down B is quite a bit harder to reflect. Also, if you absorb his full charge neutral B, I think you recover like 17%. It's a big number though. If you can get him off stage, a lot of Robs like to recover high. Use that to your advantage and just PK freeze the heck out of them. Or if they recover low, you can get an easy back air spike. It's all too easy, actually. Other than that, playing neutral against Rob is always really hard because their side B will beat out your PK fire because it reflects for some reason. That was definitely needed. And their down tilt can just kind of like keep you trapped. His down tilt can keep you trapped. But that's pretty much the same thing with every other character. But if you can win neutral half of the time, you're just gonna win. Next up, we have Roy. A lot of people think sorties do well against Lucas. I always disagree. Because since so many people use Fire Emblem characters, I've pretty much taken Roy When I first started like playing Smash competitively, which was back in around November last year, um, I thought Roy was like a -1 or -2, but as I've been playing him more, I'm realizing he's definitely a +1, or maybe even a +2 if you play it correctly. But pretty much you PK fire the whole time. PK fire and Zair, just get the job done. Occasionally go for a forward air, but that does lose to forward air, to his forward air sometimes. Also, it loses to his neutral air sometimes. But yeah, if you can just maintain your advantage state for as long as possible, if he's off stage, he's dead. That's pretty much that. You can just PK Thunder. Oh, and try not to get trapped. If you have to, and he's like trying to go off stage, and you have your PK Thunder out, try recovering high because you don't want to get ledge trapped against a Roy. Next +1 we have Chrom. Literally the same exact thing as Roy, except he's slightly faster and less powerful. Also, his recovery is a lot easier to gimp. Since he falls so fast and he has literally like one angle at which he has to recover, you will always be able to get a PK fire just by hopping down and PK firing him, or a back air spike. So that's pretty much that. Just play neutral the same way you play against Roy. Next for +1, we have Snake. This one is a little bit controversial, to say the least. Well, it's not really controversial. I think it works. It just works. Snake's grenades you can absorb. Most of the time it won't work because the wind box on the PK on the PSI magnet usually moves the grenades away so that they don't blow up on your magnet. But if there's just a grenade sitting on the ground, if you time it right, you can always get the absorption there. But all in all, in neutral, you have it won. Because although he has the grenades, you have PK fire. And if you hit him with a PK fire and he's holding a grenade, his grenade also blows up. So that racks up a lot of damage. Also, grenade players like to recover high. Snake players like to recover high. So always go for PK freeze. Never, and I mean never, go for PK thunder. Unless you know that their Cypher is out of range and they have to like air dodge back up, because then your PK thunder will be able to take care of them. Also, if you do it really fast, your forward air beats out their the super armor on their Cypher, you know, their uppy. So you can use that to your advantage as well. On online though, it is probably an even matchup because on online it's a lot harder to deal with his dash attack and his up tilt. So yeah, just try to keep yourself in neutral, not really giving up enough space to put Snake in advantage state. Next up, we have Wolf. Now, this is a very tight matchup, but I do believe it's still +1 for Lucas. Wolf, PK foot. Sorry, Lucas's forward air gets rid of Wolf most of the time. Very very useful. It like prioritizes everything. So that's pretty much how you beat Wolf. Get him off stage. He's gonna die. You can get that PK freeze going. Also, one thing I have done just to style on Wolf players, if I know they're going to recover with a side B, like to hit me, what I'll do is I'll stand there and wait for them to side B, and then like the very frame they're about to hit me, I start my up smash, and then I'll get my invincibility frames to come through for me, and they'll hit the invincibility. They'll hit my invincible up smash, and they'll just die. So yeah. So that's how you deal with Wolf. Off stage is very easy. You can back air spike him if he recovers low with up B. You can also two frame it, but that's actually pretty hard. But in general, Wolf has a bad thing. Something I will say though is neutral is a little bit harder than I make it out to be. Because he does have a couple mix-ups going for him. But if you can react to the dash attack, Every once in a while, that works decently well, and if you can absorb his blaster. But if the Wolf player is good enough, he can make this an almost even matchup. He can make this like, I don't know, a 57-43 in Lucas's favor. So all right, that's going to be it for part 3 of this Lucas matchup chart. I covered quite a bit. So next video will be quite a bit shorter to finish it out. So for those of you that don't know me, I am Lukash. I am one of the better Lucas players in Wisconsin. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content. I also play Super Smash Flash 2 instead of just Ultimate. So yeah, join my Discord in the description below. Have a great day, guys. Keep smashing.